And welcome back to the Cabbage Patch and Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
I'm Dad.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Gus.
And what did we play today?
We played
Mammut, which I believe is German for mammoth because it's made by Germans. And all the instructional videos that I found were all in German. And so I had to read the instructions, which is not the way I want to learn games.
So we're going to teach, we're going to be the only video that is English.
We might be the only video that is in English. So this is a game about prehistoric hunters who have been out on a mammoth hunt and have come back with spoils. They come back with tusks and meat and fur, and there's
gerbils.
extra axes, and there's other wildlife that they found on their expedition. And then there's a campfire and whatnot. And the point of the game is you take this bag and you fill it with these tiles, and there's 31 of them plus this special shaman tile. And at the beginning of each round, you dump the whole pile out in the beginning of in the middle of the table, like so. Just put your things out there. Put your things out here. You dump the whole pile out, and then you have this pile of tokens. And this is the spoils. This is we've come back from the hunt. We've dumped our spoils in the middle of the cave, and now we need to divvy them up. So, going in order, players take as many from this center as they want, and they can take all. And since we play with Gus, everybody always takes all, most of the time. All right, so I'll take all of these tiles, and then Tommy would go next, and he only has one choice, because you can only do two things on your turn. You can take some tiles or all of the tiles from the center, or you can take all of the tiles from another player. So Tommy would take all of my tiles, but he'd leave one behind. And then Gus would take all of his tiles, and he'd leave one behind. And eventually, as you do that, unless somebody was clever at the very beginning and divvied up, didn't take all of them to begin with, eventually you'll have a pile of interesting stuff here in the middle that the player without stuff, it might be tempted by, right? So you get this pile of stuff, and then people are going back and forth, and more stuff appears and more stuff appears. So eventually there's a pile here. When we're playing a 3-player game, if everybody was taking the piles all the time, 2 of the players didn't have any tiles in front of them, so that we could always play. If you've got tiles in front of you, when it comes to be your turn, you don't get to take a turn. It goes to the next player. Then it's me and Tommy. So then I look at yours, and do I want yours, or do I want this? And I can choose to take some or all of these. And I might do that. And now Tommy can take some or all of either of ours, and we start a new pile. And eventually, that pile gets big.
And then I can take this.
And then whoever doesn't have something, right? Whoever doesn't have something, as soon as they say, I don't want to take from another player, I want to take the stuff that's in the center, they can't just take one or a couple. They have to take all of them. And then the round ends. The round marker advances, and you enter into scoring. And the scoring's pretty simple. It's right here on the board. You get on every turn but the last turn, if you get an axe, you draw a new one of these axe cards because they give you additional scoring capabilities. So whoever has the most horns gets another campfire token. Whoever has the most furs moves forward on the fur track. The fur track's used to break ties at the end of the game. Whoever has the most tusks gets 2 points. Whoever has tusks, they get 2 points for every tusk. So I have 2, I get 4 points. Gus would get 2, Tommy would get 4. And we'd move our scoring elephant, which always starts at the 10. We'd move our scoring elephant along the score track here. We start at 10 points because whoever's the least amount of campfires gets -5 points. Whoever has the most meat gets 8 points. The second person gets 5. The third place player gets 2. And then if you drew one of these animal tiles, you get one of these unique animals. You can only have one of each type, and there are 7. And they come into play at the end of the game. And then at the end of the game, when you get to round 5, if you have axes, you get extra victory points instead of a card, because there's no reason to draw new cards. For each unique animal you have beyond 2, you get a number of extra victory points. So, for instance, I had all 7, and I went from 27 points to 57 points, but I still came in only second because Gus was way out at the end of the lead. And then if there's a tie for who's won, it's whoever's got the most furs on the fur track. And that's it in a nutshell. Watch the video that when we played it to get the full flavor for it. We did make a mistake. We were moving the fur track over the number of furs that we had, and it's really just supposed to be whoever had the most gets to move forward, and whoever did the least amount moves backwards one. So it's always supposed to be sort of in this range here. You might make it part way around the track, but if you're only moving one, there's only 5 turns, so I mean the most you can be is 5, unless it says to move you forward one on one of the cards, which I don't think it does. And that's it. That's the game. It's pretty simple. It's lightweight. It played pretty fast. I think that might have lasted a half an hour, maybe. Not as fast as some of the other games. It's a little goofy because every one of the animals has a saber tooth. So this is a saber-toothed duck.
Saber-toothed duck.
Saber-toothed gerbil.
Saber-toothed squirrel.
Saber-toothed badger.
So kind of like the movie Ice Age, there was a saber-toothed squirrel.
Yeah.
A saber-toothed badger, saber-toothed boar, which is actually not that saber-toothed bat. So they had a little fun with creating the animals. And I don't know, so it's a pretty fun game.
Designs, they basically just put saber-tooths on.
They just put saber-tooths on regular animals. And then, at the end of each scoring round, the play shifts to the next player. They dump the tokens out and do it again. And then at the 5th round, you score up everything, including the number of unique animals that you have.
And what's funny is there isn't actually a saber-tooth in this game.
There isn't a saber-toothed cat in there at all. That was
Yeah.
That's funny. So what'd you like, Gus?
I liked how you could just take stuff.
Gimme.
Yeah.
Back, and you were like, gimme!
The gimme mechanic, we'll call it. Yeah. What else? Anything else? I mean,
I liked
the funny critters. Those were cool. How about you, Thomas?
I liked the skull. I liked the gimme mechanic and the cards.
Oh, the cards, yes. So these cards split into 2 different kinds. There's things that add scores, and then there's stuff that you can use during your round. And you don't have to, but as soon as you do, you discard it. And I'll have to check the rules. I'm not sure if we discard it at the end of the round every turn. We played it so you kept them if you didn't use them. And then that lets you do things to other players, like look at their cards or force somebody to put all their stuff in the center. That's what this one does. Or flip a tile. These tiles are 2-sided, so on one side on this one there's an animal, and on the other side there's a campfire. So the sides are relevant. Yeah, and that's it. I guess we did forget that at the beginning of each round, if you get 2 of these cards to begin with. If they are brown, they're called they're scoring cards, and they stay face down until the scoring round, and you turn them over and see who has the most conditions. And if they're gray, they're turned over right away, but they're available to use through the round. And we played it through the round after. I think the only thing we screwed up was the fur scoring. I don't think we screwed up the cards. We'll double check that. I liked the gimme. But the gimme's got a limit, right? You can't keep taking your other guy's stuff because you always have to give one up, right?
Yeah.
So you can't continually just gimme, because if you gimme, eventually you're going to gimme.
You have no stuff to gimme.
And there's no more stuff, right?
No more stuff to gimme.
Right? Exactly. So it does tend to limit itself. I think that I did a gimme. I did end the round too early on the first round, and that put me permanently behind. I should have gone a couple more gimmies on that. Oh, there was one more thing. This special tile here is called the shaman tile. It's in the bag, and it's got 2 sides. So when it's dumped out on the table, it's either the red side or the blue side. And what the shaman tile does is it breaks ties. Yeah. So if Gus and I were tied for the number of meat, for instance, and Gus had the shaman tile, it would break the tie in his favor. If Tommy and I were tied for meat and Gus had the shaman tile, it goes in order, if you look at that, of the arrows on there. So I would be the one in favor of the tie. and then the other side is blue, so it goes the other direction. And I thought that was kind of neat too. It's a pretty game. It's a fun game. It's a simple game. I liked it. Ready to give it a score?
Yes.
Give it a score, Gus.
That was a definite 3.
It was a definite 3. A definite 3. All right. I'll give it a 3.
3's all around the board.
I'll give it a 3 partly because it's a Christmas present and also because it was fun. So.
Fun Christmas present, 10 out of 10. Well, technically 9 out of 10, but same thing.
You would give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a Christmas present?
You should.
Okay.
You should give it like a 4.
We give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a Christmas present. All right, well, that's it. That's Mammut. It was fun, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Do the outro.
Subscribe, like, hit that bell, Tommy.
Leave a comment if you wish.
Plenty of Christmas cabbages, not us though.
Because we are saber-toothed cabbages.
Alright.
Ooga booga.
Ooga booga. Alright, see ya.
Merry Christmas.